A young Christian singer and her soon-to-be husband are invited to a village in Scotland to preach the gospel, but after spending a few days there, they figure something must be amiss with their trip, especially if it's being written and directed by Robin Hardy, the man behind The Wicker Man, the famous movie with Christopher Lee in it, which had Edward Woodward as the police officer who came to examine the case of Rowan Morrison, who had vanished. But of course the whole thing was just a setup because this was a pagan country and there was a sort of famine. The crops weren't growing. So they were going to sacrifice this nice pure Christian policeman in the Wicker Man to bring the crops back. And as we come decades later to this movie, again directed by Robin Hardy and the writer and director of The Wicker Man, it's a very contemporary story of a Christian singer who actually she started out singing pretty provocative songs until she had her own conversion and then became a Christian and started churning out Christian hits. And she's with her fiancé, who is a cowboy, rides a horse, does a lot of riding on the range. And they are invited to come to a town in Scotland where they're going to try to reach the people there, preach. And once they get there, though, after the first couple days, they realize there's something quite amiss about their invitation. When they show up, they actually go door to door. This I thought was kind of cute. It reminded me of my own movie, Bible Madness, where you had two Bible college students knocking on the doors of the people who live in a swinging singles complex, asking them the same question.
Do you know for sure if you were to die today, if you'd go to heaven?
And the people in the Wicker Tree are pretty much asking the same thing. Eventually, they do preach and they do sing their songs in a church when they are invited to be guests of honor for their May Day celebrations. She is invited to be the May Day queen, and he, the cowboy, is invited to be what they call the laddie. And this is all kind of hidden in a bit. You know, we don't really understand what the purpose of the laddie is, why everybody has to hunt him. He gets on a horse and everybody has to hunt him. Why, I don't know. But as the movie progresses and a little bit of truth gets dropped out on us, we realize these people should have checked with their agent before booking this trip. In fact, you got to figure that the people in this Scottish town probably spent a lot of money in these people over in America because money is their only true God. Probably never even thought to vet this town or this preacher that they were going to be going to speak at. But they took the money, they came over there, and now they find that they're being set up for a sacrifice. Now, the concept of the laddie is something that Christopher Lee makes an appearance out of retirement. I think this is his last movie before he passed on. And he meets a young Lachlan Morrison, whom, after searching on Google, I found out is not related to Rowan Morrison from the first Wicker Man movie, who's painting a bridge but also painting the laddie. And this surprises Christopher Lee that he would want to actually put that in the painting.
Poor wee laddie. Hunting him is a game of chance.
You've often said that what you believe in is the natural order of things. The food chain. Cruel or benign. For you, everything under the sun happens because it just happens. That's fate.
Can fate be altered? This is a question that every religion has tried to answer, and the answer is almost certainly no.
So what in the world do they want the laddie for? Well, I could tell you right now, and that would kind of ruin the surprise, but you remember what happened at the end of the last Wicker Man. These two kids are set up to be a sacrifice.
Wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. our sacrifice.
It kind of reminded me in the sense of the movie Midsummer, which I found to be a very disturbing movie, much more superior, I would think. I think most people would find it to be a more superior movie. But you basically have some out-of-towners coming in to ultimately become a sacrifice. In this case, we have two out-of-towners coming in. Again, Christians, supposedly pure, supposedly sincere, the perfect people for a sacrifice. Tanya Nicole plays Beth Bruthby. And what I found interesting is even when she catches on that she's going to be the sacrifice, she just steps up just the same way Edward Woodard did. In fact, there's a story that in the original Wicker Man, when the scene was happening where Edward Woodard was in the Wicker Man screaming, "Oh God, Christ," and starts singing gospel songs and all that, that the fire was really getting to him. When they called cut and they let him go out, he came out almost transformed. And he apparently said, "I can understand why people would give up their lives for the truth." And I think Beth is kind of feeling the same thing because she kind of goes along with the sacrifice. In any event, this is not in the same league as the original Wicker Man, and it's certainly not in the same league as Midsummer, and that's actually a good thing. I may talk about Midsummer on a future episode of Psychocinema Therapy Theater, but I would recommend, if you're a fan of The Wicker Man, to go out of your way to see The Wicker Tree. It's a hell of a lot better than the Nicolas Cage version. I like Nicolas Cage, but I wasn't too thrilled about their remake of The Wicker Man, but I kind of like this movie, The Wicker Tree, and if you're a fan of The Wicker Man, check out The Wicker Tree. By the way, from time to time you might hear me say there are no bad movies, and of course there are some movies that I would prefer not to see again, but that doesn't mean they're totally bad. I mean, they may not be that good for me, but they may be perfect for you. And that's why I have this sweatshirt that says, Psychocinema Therapy, there are no bad movies. And you can get this sweater at Walkertown Media Works. At walkertown.com, go visit there. You can find links to my Etsy store and get your Psychocinema Therapy Theater t-shirts and sweatshirt, and take a stand when you go into the theater, no matter how bad that movie is or how bad people think that movie is you're about to see, and just say, hey, there are no bad movies. So thank you for watching Psychocinema Therapy Theater. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.